Previously on the Chaotic Neutral podcast, the gang cleansed a cursed crystal of evil magics, freeing an ancient elven pharaoh. He transported them to an unpowered magical device with the potential to fix any number of issues. The problem? It needs potent magic items to work. So the gang sets out once again into the desert, searching for treasures on this week's episode of the Chaotic Neutral podcast. I am your Dungeon Master, Caleb, and I am joined tonight by David. Previously on the Chaotic Neutral podcast. Okay, that was bizarre. God, it's not my night. Okay, try again, David. Well, I had Twitch's volume enabled, and it's on a 6-second delay, so in the middle of your introduction, my introduction started up again in my headphones. And that also carried over onto the stream in this weird, awful feedback. And Shane.
Corporal Burt West reporting for duty and ready for combat.
And Amy. And finally, Will. All right. So yeah, last week for the listeners, been a few weeks for us playing. You guys encountered, you made your way out of some catacombs where a really scary mummy was hunting you, and then you came across a haunted courtyard with this weird crystal in the middle. And Bert and Bayard completed a ritual to cleanse that crystal, while Kiki and Kai worked to keep them safe. And you're cutting in and out.
I left my character sheet in here.
So after you guys,
Keep going.
after you guys exited that courtyard and the sort of after you cleansed the crystal, the spirit inside took you to this sort of big chamber where there was this massive device, and he explained that it sort of had the powers of creation, but it wasn't powered, and that it needed magical artifacts to sort of serve as batteries, more or less. And you guys resolved to go to some of the ancient cities with lots of archives in order to find leads on some of these magical artifacts. And as you were leaving, Kiki was really freaking out because she still hadn't found Fozzie. And you guys found him in the shade of that first sort of outbuilding that you guys came across when you first arrived at the ruins, munching on the desiccated corpse of one of Bayard's old companions. And that's where we left off. But before we pick back up, I just wanted to give a shout out to the listeners. We've had a major surge in our listening numbers, which means there are a lot of new people listening and continuing to listen, not just listening to the first episode and dropping out. So if you guys made it this far, we really appreciate it, and we're glad you've joined us, and we hope to continue doing this for a while. So, on with the adventure. What do you guys do?
I didn't know that.
Yeah, I was looking at the stats, and we're up to consistently 150 plays a week.
I'm sorry. God,
You're 40 of this week's. Because it for people who are logged into SoundCloud, it tells you exactly how many listens each of them are, and Will's the top, but it also lets me look at episodes. And this last week we had 7 people listen to episode 1 and 7 people listen to episode 2, which says to me that of the 7 people who gave us a shot, all of them liked it enough to listen to the second episode.
Way to come back.
And Will, damn, you really hit the gym. Holy shit, Ford.
No, I'm building furniture.
Oh, all right. That's a shit.
It was, but since we bought the house, we moved back.
Ah, ain't nobody breaking that shit.
It was this weird bug. Yeah. So, anyways, you guys are reunited with Fozzie. What's your plan? So to
That's all I know. This is why we don't get
so to remind you guys of what the geography looks like around here, you were following a road from Karsht to this port city called Kaffa, and you were heading west to get there, and you figure about halfway through the journey was when you came across this valley with this ancient road leading south, and that's the road that led you to this temple complex. And you don't really see any other roads. Again, this temple complex is sort of on a hill in the middle of an ancient seabed, so there's not much around other than the road heading back north. So it'd be some major survival checks to strike out into the desert and hope to find anything.
Do we know what artifacts we actually have to find to power this thing? Or is that something we're just gonna have to find in civilization somewhere?
You think that it's not so much specific artifacts, but that you're bringing powerful magical items for this thing to drain the magic from in order to power itself.
Things we could actually use?
Well, in theory, yeah.
So I'll go find this cool end game weapon and then you gotta bring it back and snap it.
I mean, you guys could find less cool magic things.
Find some really C minus magic items.
Just really,
Could you raid an artifact shop or something like that in Kaffa?
really niche things like the trident of speaking to fishes.
Aquaman uses that. It's a great weapon.
Not so much a weapon, it's like a tool for free labor.
So I'm assuming you guys, your plan is to pretty much head to Kaffa.
Yeah.
My plan is to follow this group since I let my other group die.
Well, and
Don't do that again.
Yeah, nobody wants you around.
you're most recently from Kaffa, anyways. So like that's
I'm also running low on ale, so if we could get somewhere so I can replenish, that would be great.
Before we do anything else, though, I need Bert and Fozzie to make Constitution saves.
Oh dear God, I forgot about that shit.
16.
All right, Fozzie does not get worse.
I can't really go much further without.
19.
Oh yeah. I got a 16 as well.
All right, so neither of you slide any further into the Crystal Curse.
How much further? I mean,
You're in stage 2. Yeah.
I don't have full blown AIDS yet.
No.
It's like the last parts of HIV.
Stage 4 is where your mind controlled.
Okay. Wait, I thought. Excuse me. I thought stage 3 was like when you start to lose, touch with yourself, and I need to start blowing my load on stuff.
stage 3 is where you start to go a little mad, but stage 4 is where you hand me your character sheet.
Would Bert? Oh. Would Bert notice if he went a little bit mad?
Yeah.
He doesn't notice it.
Do you think that he's whispering to his book less? Should we be worried about that or happy about that?
Whisper to it.
Did Bayard, looking at these crystals all over these guys, did Bayard know anything about them?
You could roll an Arcana.
Read a check last time. Oh wait, never mind. I didn't say.
I think he did, but we'll give it a shot. It's a new session.
Did I run a check?
You did, but
That's right, I did ask, and I didn't know much about it, right?
correct.
Would if we let Bert just die and I use the Vivify, could just bring him back to that?
That's something you have?
Yeah.
Oh.
Uh,
That has died within the last minute. That creature returns to life with 0 hit points.
Do I have to die from something specific, like a blow to the head, or a fall, or I mean, if it's like death?
As long as he didn't die from old age.
Oh, all right.
you can roll me an Arcana check.
Well, I'm not very good at that.
Yeah, neither am I.
So that's 11.
Seems well aligned.
It's the equivalent of maybe.
Let's try it.
Like it's.
Definitely kill him though and bring him back to life. The crystals
Just
will
sneak up behind me and skull me with your Mikey hammer.
If you ever
Share
want,
this information with me.
I will ask you about.
If you do that though, you'll destroy my soul, and I won't be able to come back.
Oh, and he can bring you back, whether you have it or not.
Add a character knowing Kiki out of character, I would not want to say that out loud. I'm totally just thinking this in my head.
As a drunk cleric, would you say, well, can we just kill him and then bring him back and he'll be fine? Are you that drunk?
As a drunk cleric, I just might be like, well, I might have something to fix that. I don't know. We gotta get some beer. I'm running low on ale.
Can't think without the beer.
Yeah, he's a dwarf. Can't.
I can't pray unless I'm
Yeah, if he's sober, it's like instant hangover.
Yeah. Also, what's the fun in that? There's no sport. It's just too easy to get my not over.
A marathon will not bless me without booze.
That's a good god. Behold it. Shim. Or whatever.
All right, so you guys.
That's a god that wants caffeine.
What was that for, David? Okay. So Kai strikes off into the desert. Back north, David. Okay.
Is he going the right way?
Yes, he's going the right way. And I'm going to go and sort of fast forward. You guys get back to the east-west road without any incident, and continue on west. And as you wander, or as you follow this road through the hills, you do notice that the hills are getting sort of higher and steeper, and the road's sort of wandering between them instead of climbing up and over them. And to the north, they seem to get more and more mountainous. And after a couple days of travel, actually I'm going to say more than that because this is a pretty remote place. So probably about 10 days of travel, you guys finally crest this ridge, and you see a vast sea stretched out before you, and the road descends down to the coast, runs it along it for a little ways, and you can see a little ways to the north down the coast, there's a massive bridge that spans across this strait. It's high enough up that ships can sail underneath it to a peninsula on the out in the sea, and you can see a port on the other side of the bridge. And Bayard knows that this is Kaffa.
Home sweet home.
What kind of libraries they got there at Kaffa?
Will, you would know that Kaffa is not a town that really has libraries.
Next.
It is so Kaffa. You can roll me history checks. Anyone? Well, I don't know. Bert's done a lot of reading in Karst. Yeah.
I got a 25. History.
Oh god damn it.
Bayard's got a 25 and no copper. Like the back of my hammer.
Earmuff.
I know the inside of my earbud more than I know the outside.
Okay, so Kai and Bert both know that Kaffa is known as sort of a rough and tumble frontier trading post type town, where merchants from farther away have set up this port to trade with the barbarians of the steppes to the north of this sea. And the town itself was sort of set up as a trading post and exploded overnight. So it's not really clear who governs it. There's not much interest in anything that's not related to commerce. There are a few temples, but there aren't really any libraries or academies or anything. It's very much like early San Francisco. It's boomtown.
Surfers love this town.
Uh,
I wish it didn't go nuts in nature.
Bayard, you know that that Kaffa was, before it was this trading town, it was an ancient abandoned fortress built by the same elves that built the temple you were just in, as well as this fortress to the north that this road would go to on the edge of the steppes called God damn it, I wrote this down at home and I left the note there. The Gates of Toranin. And you don't know whether Toranin was a god or a king or a location, what the elves called the hills or what, but that's what the ruins are known as the Gates of Toranin. Not the hills, but so the hills. God damn it! I hate that I'm going to do this, but I'm going to draw on Roll20 for you.
Get ready, everybody.
I gotta get all the pin stuff set up here. Okay. So I'm going to outline the sea here. I know it looks like a uvula. So the road you guys are. So let's see the bridge. Okay, so you guys are coming up this road from the south here, and you're overlooking this. This is the bridge, and then Kaffa is on this peninsula out here. It's like right in there. And this is obviously not to scale. This road has been going through these hills that, as they go north, get more and more mountainous. And you can actually see the mountains ring the far edge of this bay that the bridge goes over. And somewhere up in these mountains, the road passes through some elven ruins that are known as the Gates of Toranin.
These. Okay. Gates of Toranin.
Yeah.
Okay, so this town isn't the Gates of Toranin.
No.
I thought you said there was a road
Kaffa.
built in
Yeah, so you guys can see, looking out over the water, you can see Kaffa in the center of the town is this ancient elven fortress, and then the town kind of sprawls around it, and it's mostly made of wooden buildings that are kind of leaning drunkenly, and then there's sort of some walls that have been thrown up around that, and outside of that to the north you can see there's a marketplace, and where the bridge is there seems to be another marketplace. So there are two marketplaces outside the walls, and you have these sort of ramshackle walls with a bunch of haphazardly placed wooden buildings inside, and in the center is this ancient elven fort that you don't know that anyone knows its name.
So Tehran was ancient ruins of where Copper stands.
No. So there are two. There are a total of 3 sets of ancient elven ruins. The first set is there's a fortress where Kaffa is now. The second set is the temple complex that you guys were just at, where they rescued you and the catacombs were. The third set are the gates of Tyrannon, which is a fortress to the north.
All right, gotcha. So Kaffa was one of them, but it's not Tehran.
Correct.
Would I know anything about any secrets within Kaffa that might lead to other clues from what we discovered in the last one?
Roll me
Keep hiding under a building.
roll me an investigation, or not an investigation, an intelligence. Sorry.
Yeah, how
Straight intelligence.
Yeah, straight intelligence.
So 16.
Okay. With a 16, you know that Kaffa was never a major site. You get the sense that it was sort of a border fortress that they put there to guard the port against the barbarians of the north. And so it wasn't like a sprawling city. It wasn't a place of any importance. It was just sort of a fortress on the edge of nowhere. And when these trading expeditions came out, it was a good place to land because it was a decent harbor and a place they could secure. And once they started making money, they started building more and more around it.
Okay. So there's no real other information here other than there's probably a good water.
Oh, there are probably several. This is a town of sailors, traders, and horsemen.
it's all water tools.
So the first thing I'm going to do is go to my favorite water place.
Okay, so you guys head down the road, because at this point you're still like several miles out from the city on top of a hill, seeing this spread out below you. When you get to the bridge, you see that there's sort of a guardhouse at the foot of it, and this guardsman goes, "Bayard, these aren't the people you left with."
Yes. Well, I ran into some trouble out there.
Yeah?
These are my new friends. Quite a sturdy bunch.
So these guys killed Jimmy, Joey, Jeff, and Steve?
No. They actually rescued me for all of them. Unfortunately, the guys, we were a little in over our heads.
Okay. And he kind of eyes you suspiciously. I was like, fine, I mean, don't start any fires. Don't try to taste. No arson and no stealing.
I understand.
Well,
I like
welcome to Kaffa.
Hey, you know where to find me if you run it. If you find me in trouble.
Will do. What was that, Kai?
You did some awesome shit with that those things. Okay. Would I have read anything about the gates of what again?
Toranin.
Tyrannon. Would I have read anything about that? Can you use that again?
Go ahead and roll me a history.
Is that right?
You must have. So, you know that they're kind of an enigma, because no one really knows why they built them. The barbarians of the northern steppes don't really seem organized enough to really need a fortress of that magnitude. They do raid and they are violent, but they spend most of their energies fighting each other. And even when someone manages to unite a few of the tribes together, they don't really threaten anything. Like Kaffa would be threatened, but Kaffa is also a major trading partner for them, so they wouldn't really gain anything from it. So modern scholars are puzzled by why the gates were built. And you've read that these are, you've seen sort of drawings of them. There are these massive stone edifices carved into the living rock of the mountain in this pass that's very narrow and easily defensible. Um, and it looks like it was occupied for hundreds of years.
Were there any sketches of it? Like, did I ever see like
Yes.
renderings of it?
Yeah. Yeah, you saw a sketch from the northern side. And it was,
I'm guessing it's.
I was going to say it was very imposing because you're sort of looking up this steep open slope at it, and it's just basically the mountains themselves are carved, and the only approach is across a killing field with several angles of fire from above.
So they're either. Well, I don't. We gotta get drunk first, though.
So would I know the path to the gates of Toronto?
Yeah, it would be the road that you guys were on. So you'd sort of turned off the road to cross the bridge into Kaffa.
Gotcha. Okay. We're just here to stock up.
Yeah, so the original plan was that Kaffa is a port that would get you to. Um, there's a. It's a massive city. It's an ancient city with many libraries and temples that I based on Constantinople, but I can't remember what I named it. This is this is the problem with having all of your notes on your computer. When you try to run game without those notes, it's rough. But yeah, so the original plan was that you were going to secure passage in Kaffa on a ship, going out towards that city because it sits on some straits that connect this sea to another sea.
Into the mystery is Bird's
So
Does the gang feel like indulging in Bird's curiosity?
what's your plan here, fellas? Let me buy you a drink and we can discuss it over.
That's the first bullet point of my celebratory plan. Wasted in this disgusting town of yours. Looks wonderful.
And it is. So as you crest the bridge and start to come down into town and pass through the walls, um, there are madams hawking, rival brothels across the street from each other, where the madams are flinging insults at each other and trying to lure men in. Um, there are people being thrown out of taverns. Like, you notice that none of the tavern windows have glass in them. At most, they might have like a canvas shade pulled down. But it seems that people get thrown in and out of tavern windows so often that they just don't even bother keeping glass in them. They're
I'm walking down the street. I'm saying hi to them. Hey, Callie, nice to see you again. Might see you before I leave, honey. Flynn, old boy, get your kicked out again.
uh,
Trotting along.
do you have a favorite tavern, Will?
I would imagine I don't have a name off the top of my head. Is it some crazy name?
I can generate a name, but
But one thing,
no, that's one of the brothels.
It's actually a bar and thing.
ew, what? Really?
That's like the Lucky Beaver.
I was listening It's a strip club. It's called Bait. Ugh. You don't start your night at Beat. You work up to Beat.
I feel like you went down to
All right.
No, you start at Beat, and it'll ruin your life.
So you know of one tavern that they don't water their ale down too bad, and their moonshine isn't super likely to make you go blind, and the food is actually edible. And the tavern is a long-standing institution in Kaffa that's right near the docks, and it's called the Staggering Dog.
oh, awesome.
And so you guys head in, and there's a dwarven barkeep, and he's like, Bayard!
I just kept trying to come up with a name real quick. Hawkins! My man! Round of ale for all of us.
Should I just assume you're gonna pay me in 2 weeks again?
Absolutely.
You son of a bitch.
Right, sugar mama Amy.
So you figure an ale's like a silver, and they're yeah. So I mean,
That runs pretty big.
I think that you're buying 20 rounds essentially with 2 gold. All right. And he says,
Just keep firing until he says something.
"And are you bringing Fozzie in? What's your plan? Because he's been getting some attention as you walk through the street. He can squeeze through.
As Kiki does that, I'm like, Lassie! And I pick her up and give her a great big warm hug.
I go higher.
Kiki, stand for that. Being embraced by Bayard.
It's for the show. It's fine.
Okay.
Son of a-
I'm getting stabbed later, laddies.
That's what she said. Ah.
So
I mostly only bleed ale.
the barkeep heaps
Easiest show ever.
he heaps praise on Kiki and her family and her descendants and ancestors, and he won't even make a fuss about the owl bear.
Kiki's mind just added a room just for him.
I grab another ale for the owl bear.
A nice soft room for him.
So Bayard, roll me a insight.
Oh,
Yeah, was that a good?
that's a 12. That's a 12.
Okay. So yeah, you guys have the bar. The barkeep's going to keep you guys filled up on ale. You do notice that this tavern does not have an inn attached, so you'll probably need to find lodgings elsewhere.
I usually pass out in the street.
God, you are the worst. I mean, you're the best cleric I've ever met, but you're the worst.
And the barkeep says, "Is he the only cleric you've ever met?" That was the
Holy man from now on.
that was the joke, guys.
Thing I wanted to do was like look around to see. It's right by the docks, right?
Yeah.
So there might be someone who secures a ship.
Yep.
There. Okay.
All right.
You're not interested in the temple up the road.
Oh, I'm totally interested in the temple, but I'm trying to think ahead too.
Well, since you bought me the drinks, I'm on my way with you.
So what sort of sea dog are you looking for, Shane?
I'm looking for someone. I want him. Let's see. I want him. I want one that looks like he knows what he's doing, like he can fend off like a pirate attack. So someone who's tough looking, you know,
Uh huh.
not a Nancy boy in a clean outfit, but I want someone who's got like a look in his eye. Yeah, none of that shit. That's me. I mean, he was a great, you know, he was a great asset, of course, but this is not where we would find him. At least I don't think.
Uh,
Someone, the look in his eyes, like you know, he knows. He's seen some shit, and he can get you through some shit,
okay.
and he can do it without getting killed.
Roll me a.
Captain Flynn.
Not a shipwreck. Captain Flynn, I like that name.
That was Will's.
Tell her that we checked out all that spawn.
So roll me a investigation. Are you helping Shane with his search?
I lean over to Kiki and I tell her this is what
Okay.
God, yeah.
All right. So you find several likely candidates, both in the Staggering Dog and in Environs.
That guy. Part of that guy. He knows somebody.
There's
Like, it's not that guy, but he knows something.
there's Captain Flynn, who is barely conscious. He's in the gutter, and he seems to have decided that that's a suitable place to rest for now. That he really meant to exit the bar, and they were just helping him out. You notice that within the Staggering Dog, there's a crew of sailors that all sort of have tattoos that seem to indicate they're part of the same crew. It's like a bull's horns, and drinking in the corner you see a minotaur, just sort of sitting there drinking quietly, and it looks like you get the sense that he is part of that crew, and probably an officer because he's not with them. Does that make sense?
Oh God.
Can I go up to him and say it?
Say what?
I'm curious. I have to go with you.
If we pick him,
When you said Minotaur, I was like, they've got tattoos of his headdress.
So what do you say?
that one.
That's where the bull get the horn.
Yeah.
That's where the bull get the horn.
Is that what Amy wanted to say? Because she keeps cutting out. Like I'm not hearing her answer.
Black. Everything went black. And then it all came back.
So what did you want to say to him?
Caleb, can you hear her talking in the other room?
No.
Is she still alive? Hello?
Hello.
I came back.
Okay.
You still here?
Yes.
Technical difficulty.
Oh, you need to turn one of those mics off. You've got that echo again.
That better?
Yes. Wait,
My
is
D20. Rebooted.
Okay. So you were really excited about the Minotaur because there was something you wanted to say to him. Now she's just fucking with me.
Every time you say Minotaur, she gets dog. The word of the day. Pee-wee's Playhouse goes. "Ah!"
Do 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 do. Do 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 do. They're making an Invader Zim movie? Awesome.
Like a. It's gonna be animated. Tell me it's gonna be animated. Like the way it was. Okay.
Nice.
Yeah.
Yes.
Okay. Now about the gentleman with the horn in the corner of the bar.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. I wanna go and like slide up to him and say, so you messed with the bull. With the horn?
You're right, Will.
Make me a charisma. Make me a charisma check.
A halfling with a minotaur. That's nice.
Uh, he he takes
Solid 10.
he makes uh he swings a haymaker, a massive fist in your direction, but you manage to just nimbly duck out of the way, and he seems a little surprised at that. And you get the sense that he's pretty drunk. It was hard to tell because he's just sort of sitting still, but he seems a little off put. Like, and he's like, "Hold still so I can hit you."
I like. Okay, Bert, I warmed them up for you.
So you cut out in the middle of that. There's something.
Yeah, okay, Bert. I tell Bert that he's warmed up.
Okay.
It's good to talk to you now.
Take him an L ladder.
Awesome. I don't. I guess I don't even have to do a reception check for that one. I just go in. Yeah, that's what you said. I saw him take a swing. Okay, Bert. Yeah. He's primed for negotiation.
You just go in. You gotta do the date thing where the guy swoops in and goes, "Oh my God, what an ass! Like, can you believe that? Like, come on, I'm your wingman."
Give that Bert.
What a bitch, right? Has no sensitivity. Jesus.
Who are you?
Bert, I'm the guy who's gonna hire you to take me to insert name of city here.
Beautiful Montrose, Minnesota. No. Well, we need to get you to watch Drop Dead Gorgeous so you can understand these inside jokes. The
We only have 5.
yeah, but this movie opens up with like a pre-made tape talking about this beauty pageant, and it's Adam West doing it. And when he gets to the point where he's talking about how people will be competing in your hometown of, and he pauses, and there's this terrible voiceover that goes, "Beautiful Montrose, Minnesota." Anyways, so he's like, "Are you new here?"
We are, but we've got a good guy. And I point to Bayard up at the bar, who's, I don't know, what are you doing right now?
At this point, I'm probably sloshed over trying to get my barrel filled so that I can be ready for the next adventure.
Yeah, he seems real on the ball. Yeah, I think you're in good hands. So he hasn't told you.
He's just blowing off some steam right now. He saw some ships.
So no one's leaving the harbor, so you're not hiring any ships. I hate to tell you,
Why isn't anyone?
because the lady of the sea, well, the bay, the harbor, whatever. And oh, Amy, does a 23 hit your AC? You take 2 points of damage as he just as he clocks you, and then he's just like, that feels good.
Foxy
In,
comes.
in order,
Would I have noticed this punch?
You said you were at the bar trying to get your ale filled.
Jokes, okay.
to try to mitigate the damage here, I'm gonna outwardly laugh and point at Kiki, and then do my little mind rape thing, and try to calm down Fozzie.
All right.
I can communicate with him since he seems to understand what he says, right?
Yeah, I mean, you all sort of have sort of joint ability to communicate with him.
Okay, so I go. It's all part of the show. Don't.
Roll a animal handling.
You son of a whore.
I think it's wisdom.
Okay. So we got 14.
All right, I need Kiki to roll an animal handling.
Oh, she's saying, get him.
Yeah,
Nine.
and even with your rogue thing, that would still be only a 12. So, yeah. So Bert wins out. Fozzie looms and bristles menacingly, but he doesn't actually like swoop in.
And I wink and I this is like on the sly, like wait.
There's a monster sinking ships out in the harbor. Anyone that tries to sail out gets sunk. We never really see it. A fog rolls up whenever it approaches, and then ships sink. It seems to be centered on the Lady's Isle. That's why we call it the Lady.
Okay, so on the map.
Yeah, it's sort of just beyond the mouth of the harbor. So like,
So there is like a little.
yeah, so like the harbor comes out,
Yeah.
and sort of at the mouth of the harbor where if you look out into it, there's like a lighthouse on it that seems to be not functioning. It's a fairly sizable isle, like Alcatraz size. Oh, I dread to see what Amy's. Yep, I knew you were going there. So to give you context for that, Amy drew a vagina on roll 20.
Is it a vagina? It really looks like the packing.
That is a good point because the center is round, but that was more my doing than.
Hairy mess. So I asked the guy, Minotaurs, what's been going on?
A few days.
Can I think back to maybe anything I may have read in the Azod library
Sure.
about the region that horrible fishman monster thing? Ah, fuck. History?
Yeah.
I got a 14.
You remember a book that you sort of skimmed because it wasn't. The author seemed to be making up 2/3 of what he was writing about, and it was a it seemed to be a travel narrative. And when he came to this port of Kaffa, he talked about how there was a nearby island where the legend was that a princess had been cursed long ago, and she took on the form of a beautiful woman if you found her in her cave. And if you could kiss her, then you'd break the curse, which was that she turned into a horrible, raging, monstrous creature at night. And if you managed to kiss her, then that would break the curse. But every time anyone would get close enough to kiss her, she'd get so excited that she'd turn into the monster and eat people. So
How about yeah, Bear Grylls writes it. How about we take care of this shit? If we took care of it, free to port of all this monster nonsense, secure placing your vessel free, maybe.
sure, if you survive. No one's been out there.
Not if you can consult with them. Yeah, we'll do it. That's fine. And I kind of give like Kiki a worried look, like, is this okay, ma'am?
How are you planning to get out there?
Walk?
Tell me.
Does Kiki, out of character, does Kiki have boots of water walking? Was that this game that she got those? Oh, the ring.
No, I'm
Okay. He looks at you like you're crazy. And he looks at Bert and he goes, "You got a weird friend."
We're all and I break down my visor.
Oh, David.
What did he do? What did he say? God damn it.
Everyone roll me your perception checks.
Who did he steal from and who did he piss off?
16.
24.
Alright. Both of...
So,
7.
uh,
Wrong.
19.
well, so
19.
Bayard and Hawking, the bartender, have fallen into a grand dwarven tradition of a barrel drinking contest where they both basically take a barrel, they put their mouth over the tap, and they chug as much as they can until they can't chug anymore. And the barkeep got a perception of 1, so I'm presuming that that Bayard is winning. Although how dwarves consider winning or losing in this might change that. Like if it's who gets drunker, then maybe the barkeep's winning.
Whoever downed it first.
So Bert and Kiki are both very used to traveling with Kai at this point, and you always just kind of keep an eye on him because he's prone to doing crazy shit. So you both notice as he takes out Flint and Tinder and starts himself a little fire in the corner. He's like shaved off. He's like whittled away a chair leg for the tinder, and he's started this fire. And you see him like making the gestures like he used to make with his bracelet to control it. And he is not having success, and it is not yet caught fire to the wall, but it's going to soon.
Can
And you're the only ones that have noticed.
I use a cantrip? I can't remember what it's called. It's not prestidigitation, but it's what do you call it? The other one does minor trips.
I don't think that one's a cantrip.
No,
No, fart. I was making a goof.
okay, alright.
That's a 6th level. That's Cloud Kill. Oh my god, I was just looking at fart. Ah, these are the jokes, people.
You know, maybe I don't have that. Maybe I'll just have to use Mage Hand. Can I use Mage Hand to like cup it and then snuff it out?
Unfortunately, Mage Hand doesn't really work like that.
God damn it!
Uh,
Use Mage Hand to grab all the kindling that he took and then just like pull it towards me.
sure.
Okay. And I don't even say
I, on the
anything.
other hand, notice this, and I don't care.
I don't say anything. I just kind of give him one of the, and then hope like it distracts a lot.
Okay, that gets everyone's attention. Uh, I need percentiles. So Bert, you do manage to grab the little pile of burning kindling.
And it wasn't so much grabbing; it was like on the ground. I'm just like scooping it with my tail,
Yeah, I know,
like I'm like scooping a pile.
and I understand this. Unfortunately, that this is a diff.
Oh, did it?
Oh yeah, it's lit. Like you notice the fire.
Wait a minute. Okay, so I thought it was he was trying to light it, and I didn't have to light it. If it's already lit, then is there a drink nearby?
Yeah, it's a bar. There's always drinks nearby.
I'm gonna take Mage Hand.
Uh huh.
I'm gonna
Don't
grab
grab the moonshine.
I'm gonna grab no. I'm gonna try the beer because they water it down. I'm gonna grab hold of one of the steins of beer, the closest one, and then pour it over that fire.
Okay. David, since this is your insanity, high or low? And we should specify: is this high in Kai's favor of his project? Okay. Okay. I rolled a 37. So yeah, it is beer. I, I was doing a 25% chance that no, it was actually moonshine.
A mug full of moonshine. This guy's crazy.
And you douse it.
Oh, good. Okay. Okay. Nobody's having fun on my watch except you guys.
And everyone's attention is drawn to Kai. And Hawking's like, whatever. Crazy fucking elves.
Oh, great. Okay. So perception-wise, does it look like anyone's gonna like rush him and get his ass? Try to. It's not they can.
The way that it kind of looked to everyone was that he saw the fire and was freaking out about the fire, but not actually doing anything about it. And then you used your mage hand to douse it. But they don't make the connection with Kai and the cause of the fire. Just that he was the first to see it.
That in mind, I'm not gonna get up.
And they're all so drunk that they don't really seem intent on like doing any investigation. It's like, oh, that was weird.
So there. Okay. Good. No drunk detectives. No like.
Not in this establishment. Now I got to pay J.K. Rowling $1 million.
Add down to Tom Segura. He's the one I stole that fucking bit from. All right. So I say, all right, we'll take it to the lady. Gives the passage to. And then he can probably get up at any point. I'm gonna get up. And I'm gonna slap the Minotaur on the arm. It's like, good doing business with you. Give me buy a drink, and I'll slap down a silver.
You're a good man. I'll drink. I'll drink to you when you're dead.
I don't die. I'm multiply.
Uh. He's a minotaur of few words. Where's Rachel?
Where's
Oh, Amy, thank you for putting snow on top of those mountains. Green snow.
It's springtime.
So, how do you guys plan on getting out to that island?
I'm not planning on getting out there at all right now. But I was serious about teleporting. If we could see it from the pier, then I could just like.
Oh, okay. Okay.
You run it. Oh God, you and freaking Amy. Fine. You guys go ahead. I'll take the rest of these guys.
Yeah.
Then you fall.
And then he runs out of momentum.
So you're not like one of those awesome RC cars that can just like run it indefinitely across the pool. Or is it out there?
It's well out there. Yeah.
Okay. If we could see it. So I get up, I go back to the bar, and I check on Bear. Because
good lad, good lad. What's the plan?
holy crap, you can talk at this point.
Yeah, I need a Constitution save.
Alright, Will.
Oh, natural one.
Oh shit!
So yeah, Bayard is asleep. And the barkeep is just sort of slumped next to him, but awake, and he's like, "These young ones can't handle their liquor." You don't think he's capable of standing, but he's talking shit about Bayard.
I wouldn't expect anything less from him to work. Smart. There's nothing we can do now because Baird's he's like incapacitated.
Captain Flinty.
Yeah, I guess so. Yeah, why not do some more investigating? Why not? I'm not that drunk. Let's go talk to Captain Flint and see if he knows anything about this waters.
He's like, that's just oh, sorry. He's in a gutter. I just a minute. Why are you talking to me? I don't know what's going on in the harbor. I'm telling you, it's fucking fog. Is all it is. There's fog and rocks. I said, man, the lighthouse would be fine. Don't listen to old Flinty.
I want to do an insight. I know he's drunk, but does it sound like he actually? See, that seems like a stupid check. Because if he's drunk, of course he believes what he's saying.
Yes, he does believe what he's saying.
God damn it! And I can't enter his brain. Shit.
That was ominous.
How about so there was the Minotaur, there was the crew that was with the Minotaur with the beast horn tattoos, right?
Uh huh.
They're still up and about. Is that correct?
Yeah, they're like drinking and dicing and playing games.
Do they look approachable, or do they look like they're just hot shit? They wouldn't talk to a flop-haired weirdo like me.
If you talk to them, they'll direct you to the captain and point at the Minotaur.
Ah, okay. So I made the right choice. All right.
Kiki found a few other captains, but really, like, the Minotaur seems to be the one who has his shit together the most.
Okay. drag our drunk ass dwarf to one of them, and then in the morning figure out what to do. Does that sound alright to you? What do you think?
Can you guys hear her? There she is.
Not.
No, she's not saying anything.
She wasn't in Discord for a while, so she's back now.
I still can't hear her.
Delay.
I can see her lighting up, but I can't hear her.
Hello.
Hi. Bonjour.
Is
Kiki.
So what were you asking, Kiki?
I was asking her if it sounded like a good idea to round up everyone, got rooms, and then figured out what to do in the morning. Either ruins or Lady in the Water.
things so.
I'm thinking we could probably kill some barbarians up there in the ruins, or kill some like a nasty like sea witch out there in the water somewhere.
Wait, are you asking me because I'm the one paying for the rooms?
Yeah. Fire's the choice.
Where's the crappiest place?
You are swimming in gold. How?
There are plenty of temples. He said, or temples you can stay there for free.
You serious? We could just sleep in a church?
Why not?
Oh, that's right. You have an inn.
I don't have any.
Well,
I mean,
no.
not every inn
No.
here.
Like, he has an inn with the organization, not he has an inn as in synonym for tavern.
Yeah. You're in a state. Why don't you just let us stay there? God, we saved your life.
I don't make money by giving away something free.
Go to Glitch
I'll
Box.
just buy a room in the nicest place. You guys can go sleep for free.
You can drop me off of any temple. I'm good sleeping in the temple.
You were so excited about sleeping at the temple.
I was.
All of a sudden you're not.
Well, if you're playing, I'm more.
Yeah, I'll buy rooms for everybody.
Add up the price. Yeah. Let's go sleep at the temple because it's cheap. Like the cheapest.
Okay. So, Bayard,
Across the threshold.
Bayard takes you to the temple of his god in Kaffa. And you notice that it's actually, of the various temples you see, his seems like it's doing pretty well. The stonework all seems pretty decent. Inside, the furnishings are plain but comfortable. And you get the sense that I think that was a child at Will's house.
Oh, I thought it was Amy. I thought she wandered out into the living room and she just started fucking with you. Okay.
I like
I don't like kids like that.
So yeah, the temple, it seems to be doing pretty well for itself. The furnishings are plain but comfortable, and you get the sense that they're kind of plain because there are a lot of drunks around. That this is a temple to a god of drinking, more or less. And I don't know, Will, did you have any specifics in mind about this religion?
No, not really. Other than it was technically one of the gods I looked up for like the harvest, and it was I figured
Okay, so
its name was Ameaphon.
okay, I'm gonna crib from the cult of Dionysus, or Bacchus, and so sort of in the center of this temple, there's a beautiful garden with fountains and grapes, and it seems like acolytes of the temple bring food and refreshments to people staying in the gardens. You just sort of sleep in the gardens in a pavilion if you're a guest. And what?
I'm not sleeping there.
Okay. Where do you go to sleep? To sleep.
Wherever the nicest place.
All right, you find an inn called just the Admiralty, and it is super snooty. The
I'm like, kill everybody.
Oh, Jesus.
do you
I like it here.
Serial killer on the loose.
so the
King
okay. That's very much a dive. And the sign on the inns, so all the inns have sort of painted signs, and the sign on for that inn is very lewd. It makes it quite clear what kind of establishment it is.
There's one hand is doing the thing, the other with the forefinger going into the hole.
Just a reminder, ladies and gentlemen, we are an R-rated podcast. Don't let your kids listen to us. Um. Yep. Not to be used as a babysitter. Kiki.
Why is it too long to get through this?
So Kiki, at the Admiralty, there's a very thin, tall man with just, I don't know, sort of a drawn out expression. I'm thinking he looks like in The Little Mermaid. There's like the prime minister dude that hangs out with the prince, and he's got like white hair that's back in a ponytail, and he's always wearing black, and he seems very somber all the time. Does anyone know what I'm talking about?
Like,
I know exactly what you're talking about. Yeah.
Okay.
Fat nose.
We'll watch the yesterday, you know.
I've watched almost.
But yeah, so he looks a lot like that, and he looks down at you, not just literally because he's a very tall human and you are a halfling, but also very much in a society way, and says, "Can I help you, Miss?"
One room. I let Fozzie go to the swimming pool. I think he'd be happier there.
oh, I get to snuggle with Fuzzy.
Uh, One room with all the amenities, or do you want the
Yeah,
economy selection?
God, his dad's getting old.
He kind of looks you up and down and shrugs and says, "Well, that will be 25 gold."
it doesn't weigh anything, right? Like, I can have silver on me.
Because you're you, I'm going to say that you probably did get a significant portion of your money changed into copper and silver just so you could be an ass. So yeah, you,
2,500 coppers. Put it in the pillowcase. Knock him out with it.
And I walked to his room.
he doesn't even tell you he doesn't give you a key or anything. Like,
He doesn't need fucking
she doesn't know where her room is. She's just going to pick a room and break in, and this is my room now.
I own this.
I like that plan. No. Instead, I will just take out, what, 25?
Yeah.
Drop it at his feet. Stare at him.
he kind of sniffs and very distastefully bends down and picks it up and makes a show of counting it out, and then says, "Very well. All appears to be in order." And he takes a key from sort of behind the desk, and he says, "Top floor, third on the right. Have a good day." Okay.